computer. All right, last presentation for the day, guys. So I'm gonna try and keep it as short as possible. It would require for a little bit of help from you guys in terms of answering a bit quickly. I'm gonna kind of try and keep it as what do you say? I'm gonna try and keep it as something which we can keep joining into in the conversation as such. So quite a few questions that might pop up.
Interactive.
Thank you. For some reason, just decided not to come to my running one. All right. So you guys should be able to see my screen just about now. Excellent. I see the thumbs up from David. So I want to take you guys a little back in time a little bit. I want to take you guys back to 2020, just around the time when, just around this time is where we got to know that, well, there's this deadly virus, which is out to basically get us as such, right? And March 17th in Canada, I believe we all went into a shutdown and everybody started wearing masks. How many of you remember how it was like in that first week of us having to wear a mask and going about and stuff like that? Yeah, I see hands raised up. Fantastic. So it's not something which is that far away, but in the last 2 years, we've had to deal with a virus. We've had to deal with what the after effects was and all that. And the world's best medicinal minds got together to come and let us know about what the symptoms, the threats, and the after effects of COVID-19 was. And eventually they came and they told us about the cure as well. We saw a lot of things that happened which had never happened before. For the first time in history, we saw an entire generation go out and get homeschooled. I mean, the kindergartners who started off in the year 2020 and 2021, they sat at home and they started their class. None of us ever had that experience. We were sent off to school. Our moms left us back. We probably cried on the first day and then got used to it. But there's a whole generation which did not have to do that. They got to sit at home with their family and start off. International travel was called off completely. Every airport shut down. And this was my personal favorite. Majority of the world's population started to respect personal space. I'm not sure how many of you guys had to travel with transit, but I was new to Canada when COVID-19 broke out, and I was using the transit until that point. Coming on the transit in the evening basically meant you are squeezed into a metal tube with a lot more people than that are supposed to be in that metal tube. It was quite hard, but as soon as this hit, people started to stay away. They started to create that space. Then, of course, these are the good things that happened as such, in my opinion, but some things did get worse. For example, some people, unfortunately, had to go through this thing of their professional lives kind of spilling over into their personal lives, bringing us to the point of work from home. Is there anyone here who did not work from home in the last couple of years? Debbie, you did not work from home at all in the last couple of years. What do you do?
I'm a certified dental assistant.
Oh, in your case, it actually meant that they shut down and they had to reopen. So there was a whole period where you were at home.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But did you have to meet with your team or your workmates over Zoom calls?
Our employer and other staff members did meet 1 or 2 times via Zoom. Just
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that just brings me to the next question. Is the next screen as such. I have a set of questions that I'd like to ask you guys just to see where we stand at. Okay. So I want you guys to close out your fist. All right. And raise one finger every time you have a yes for any of these questions. Okay. Your first question. Had over 2 virtual meetings in a day in the last 2 years. Okay. David's got his finger up. I've got a finger up. Cindy's got a finger up. I'm trying to locate Chelsea. Ah, there she is. Got it. And all right, second question. If you watch a lot of videos on your phone, nobody? Okay. Okay, Debbie's hand comes up. All right. What about being in a virtual meeting where you only listen and do not speak? Okay, David's got one more finger up. So David, you keep the finger that came up and you raise one more in case you have a second yes. Yeah. So he's got 3 yeses. Okay. All right. Been in a virtual meeting that lasts longer than 2 hours. David's almost there. He's almost got the full Monty, I guess. Watch shows on Netflix back to back for more than an hour continuously. There we go. Laid down on the couch or the bed and change channels on the television without knowing what to watch. Guys, if you're running out of fingers on one hand, that's okay. Just hold up that one palm. I've got the picture. And the last one here is, if you've stared at a mirror for longer than usual. I know this one's a little different from the earlier questions that's been asked, but if you have stared at the mirror for longer than usual in the last couple of years, raise your hand up. All right, fantastic. You guys can lower your hands down now. I'm gonna cross that or put that away. If you had more than 3 fingers raised up, you should be familiar with this term called virtual fatigue, or more commonly known as Zoom fatigue. Zoom started taking the flak for this, unfortunately, because Zoom was the most predominantly used video telephone software. But it's not just Zoom, it is actually a virtual fatigue due to, which has been defined as exhaustion, burnout caused by the increased cognitive demands of video communication. At the end of this lesson, you will know the 4 causes and 4 ways to avoid Zoom fatigue based on Stanford's research. Okay, so moving on. What are the 4 causes for virtual or Zoom fatigue? I'm going to open it out to you guys to see what you guys think could be the cause for it. I'd like everybody to participate. So I'm going to give you guys about 10 seconds to think of an answer in your mind. And David, if you've got an answer already, go for it, mate.
Yeah, I think the first off would just be having to stare at a screen for that period of time would be the first one.
Okay. Having to share as a screen. I've got 4 causes up. I'm just going to leave it blank for now. Staring at a screen. All right. Debbie?
Yeah, just following up with David's comment. I recently had an eye exam, and the reason I'm thinking of this is because there's glasses that you can get with blue blockers, because
Yes.
especially if you have to look at a computer screen for an extended amount of time, that light does a little bit mess with your sleeping. It can, especially if you're doing it late at night.
Okay, so there's excessive looking at the screen as such. There's also looking at the screen quite closely. Oh, sorry, my bad. We were not done with the reasoning. Cindy, go ahead.
I think physical, in addition to the eye strain, we have the posture. It's difficult on our posture, and so a lot of back pains and from sitting so much.
Yes, posture, 100%. One of the reasons for Zoom fatigue is such. Chelsea, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to not have to do a bunch of Zoom calls like every day, like all day. Like I teach maybe an hour in the morning and that's it. But my mom was working from home too. And she was kind of mentioning to me like, oh, it's getting so tiring. Like everyone's just like sending me, Zoom invites, and we have all these meetings like all day, every day. It never ends. It's just so easy now. Click of a button and boom, you can be there. And there's like meetings and there's no actual like human interactions, all through the screen. So of course, like you guys mentioned, posture, staring at the screen, but you're also like losing that, person to person sort of benefit that we get as humans. Yeah, like exactly. Like we vibe off each other, and it's like all all day, every day, you're just like on a Zoom meeting and you're not really connecting with them really. Like, yes, you are through a screen, but it's not the same as, you know, talking in real life, going for a coffee or having a meeting in person. It's just, you miss that. So I think that also tires your mental health down too.
100%. You know what? You guys have made my class quite simple because you've actually hit up quite a few points already. I think we lost David in between, but I'm going to just keep continuing. What are the 4 causes for Zoom fatigue as found out by the Stanford researchers? The very first one they said was posture. We've all mentioned it, but I want to give you a little bit more clarity in terms of what they mean by posture. They don't mean just your lumbar support, your back. They also mean the posture of your screen to the line of vision. Now, guys, what I'm doing at the moment is from my eyes looking forward straight, I am literally blocking out my eyes line of vision and I'm moving my hand straight up. And as I move forward, you will notice that my hands are coming and blocking out the camera. Can you guys try doing the same thing and see if you're able to block out the camera? Okay, Cindy seems to be there. But Chelsea, you feel like you're going down, yeah? Keep yourselves unmuted through the class, guys. Don't worry about muting yourselves. It's just the 4 of us, so it shouldn't really be a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely not in line. I need to like lift it up more like this. So I'd put the textbooks or something underneath it.
Very good. Chelsea, I feel like you've already started doing that. I want you to help me with a little bit of an experiment, okay? I want you to hold up the screen where you have the camera.
Yep.
And I want you to keep holding that for a few seconds, maybe a minute at most. Whenever you feel like, okay, I can't do this anymore, just tell me, hey, I can't do this anymore and bring it down. But just continue holding it at this moment, okay?
Okay.
All right. So the second reason that they pointed out was reduced mobility. Now we raised our hand up on the screen. We've been looking at each other, answering when Cindy's answering, I'm looking at Cindy. When Debbie's answering, I'm looking at Debbie and everybody else as well. But in a classroom, in physical classrooms, when we had to raise our hand up, we actually got a little mobile by raising our hand up. There was a bit of a movement involved there, which Zoom stripped us off. Zoom stripped us off a whole bunch of things. Like when you have to answer in a classroom, you had to stand up to answer. But seriously, who's going to stand up in a virtual meeting to answer? None of us, right? Here's something that you might not have realized as well. Inside a classroom, when one of your mates are answering, and if he's sitting in the back row, what do? We turn around and we watch him, right? And not everybody of us is going to be blessed with a chair that turns around completely on its axis. So we kind of have to turn our back over and we have to see the person that's answering. But today in a Zoom meeting, no, it's all in front of us. So the basic movements that we could have inside a classroom, apart from getting up and going to the washroom, was also taken away by Zoom meetings. That's the second thing that they pointed out. The third one that they pointed out is something that you guys are very familiar with, close-up contact for prolonged periods, AKA Netflix binging on shows, AKA meetings which last for over 2 hours. All of that is close-up contact for prolonged periods. And the last one that they mentioned, and this was a little surprising for me too, seeing yourself in real time. Now, when we are in a meeting as such, when we are talking, let's take out the virtual platform. Let's talk about a physical classroom. Hey, Debbie, when you are taking a class in the physical classroom, are you able to see yourself? Is there a mirror behind the students where you can see how you look like?
No.
No,
No,
you don't.
definitely not.
Right? Because if we are able to look at ourselves, it makes us conscious. Anyone here who's not conscious of themselves when they can see their screens?
I just have a comment. When I presented, I actually closed all of your,
Okay.
I didn't see you. I only focused on what I was presenting.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's a nice trick. Taking off the entire classroom. I think it's equivalent to the one where you say, if you have stage fright, just go imagine everybody in their underwear. Like, let's imagine nobody's here. I'm just going to take a class for the entire class who are mum. Yes, that's a good technique too. But this one here, I'm referring to where you see yourself. And that is a stress point because we realize, oh, wait, our hair's like sticking out. Oh, wait, it doesn't look like our shirt's in the right place. We fix that. And it takes me back to the first slide, which was the increased, not the first slide, sorry, the definition, which was the increased cognitive requirements of a video call right there. So this 4 reasons that they mentioned all comes and accumulates towards the cognitive demands of a video communication. Now, we've all been affected by Zoom fatigue. I don't really need to check if you've been affected before. If you raised your fingers up, guys, you've definitely been affected by it. You might not have realized that that was Zoom fatigue. We could have labeled it off as tiredness and walked away. Hey, Chelsea, have you dropped your laptop down? Yeah, I just want to point out over here at this moment, guys.
Yes, I did.
Chelsea, thank you for doing that experiment with us. Is your hand hurting? Was your
My triceps.
starting to hurt?
I had to quit. Yeah, started to burn in my back. Yeah.
And it started to hurt a little bit because you were holding up the device for that long, right?
Yeah.
The pain that you went through or the stress that you were experiencing is the same stress that your neck is experiencing when you have to look down to see what you're seeing.
I better adjust my laptop positioning then, because that's usually down there. Like, I'm looking down like that. Maybe that's why I have neck pain. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense now.
I want to bring it out. That's awesome. I want to just try and connect this for you guys, okay? Imagine going to a movie theater. Think about the posture that you have in a movie theater when you're looking at a movie, when you're watching a movie. You're not going to like having to sit and watch the movie like that. No, it's not going to be pleasant. You want to have pushback seats and you want to be looking up when your head is rested on the back. But that's a movie theater. That's a luxury. Let me bring it to your homes, where you adjust your TV into your wall bracket. Nobody's going to think about putting the TV at the bottommost part of the wall, right with the floor itself, and try to get a nice high couch. No, it doesn't make sense. You have a nice low couch and you have a TV up there, which is a nice big screen, and you take a look at. All because the neck goes through a lot of strain when we're looking at a screen. We just don't realize it because the pain in the neck comes only when it's extremely stressed. The pain in the hand is felt immediately because we use it that often, right? So let's move on to how do we avoid Zoom fatigue? I'm going to start off with our posture. Place the screen in line with your eyes. I have this beautiful thing which basically lifts my screen up, and I can adjust the height of this based on whether I'm standing or I'm sitting down. Cindy mentioned something interesting. She's got a table that moves up and down. If you look up, if you are going to be doing a lot of Zoom calls, guys, I very strongly suggest getting yourself something called as an ergonomic stand-up table. It goes up, comes back down. It lets you stand and take the call. It lets you move the screen according to your whims and fancies. So if you just felt like you've been sitting down the whole day and you just want to stand and continue working, hey, that table's there to support you. If you don't want to go to the extent of investing into a table, Dennis, I'm sorry, $100 on a table just because I'm feeling a little tired doesn't sound like a plan. I agree with you. Out of nowhere, spending $100 on a table, I don't really think my wife's going to agree to that. Yeah. But she most certainly will agree to me bringing down a couple of Yellow Pages directories and keeping my laptop on top of that so that I don't have the neck pain at the end of it all. What I'm trying to say is elevate your screen to the line of vision that you have so that you are not forcing yourself to look down at the screen. That's the first thing that I want you guys to do. The second way to avoid is pick multiple spots in your living space. This one's a little out there, but I do something called as device orientation for my students, meaning before they start their class, before their first day, we get onto a video call where I will orient them into how to get into a classroom on day one, so on and so forth. During which time I also tell them, hey, you are sitting in the most comfortable spot of your house right now. I'd like you to pick out at least 2 more spots inside your house where you can sit down comfortably and take your call. You start the day at 8:30, you can sit at the dining table when you're nice and fresh, so on and so forth, or at your work desk. But come 11:30, 11:45, and you're starting to like just whimper down a little bit. Move over to a place where you have a window, but move to a different location inside the house. Come 3 o'clock, when you are reaching towards the end of the day, move over to another spot, but have multiple spots just so that you can move around inside your house. Because you could move around inside your school or your classroom or your office. You definitely had to take bathroom breaks. You probably had to go to different classrooms or different offices, but none of that is possible today in a virtual classroom. So create that possibility for yourself. I have my bedroom, I have my living room's window, well, on one side of the living room, and I have the other side of the living room, which is outside the house as such. All 3 spots. The third spot, I sit down only when it's summer, but it's a great spot to sit at because I have the best Wi-Fi there as well. Yeah. So pick multiple spots in your living space. Don't be like Sheldon and say, oh, that's my spot, and make the person get up from there. Okay. For all the ones who did not get the Sheldon reference, Big Bang Theory, look out for it. I'll share a link for you with you guys. The third one, 20-20-20. This is something that I came across because I don't have 20/20 vision. And if we are spending 2 hours on a video call, take a break every 20 minutes, just for 20 seconds. It's not even a break that you need to announce as such. 20 minutes, set an alarm on your phone or a timer on your phone. When it rings, just look away to another spot, which is at least 20 meters away for 20 seconds. Just that much. You don't need to take permission of your instructor. You don't need to take permissions from anyone for looking away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes. But that's going to help you in looking away from the screen, giving you perspective from a longer distance, and then bringing you back to the close proximity screen once again. And the last one, turn off self-watch. I'm not too sure if you guys know what turn off self-watch is, but Zoom's got this crazy ability to turn off us and just show the rest of the class as such. So Debbie, Cindy, you guys should be able to see your presentation right now, and you should be also able to see yourselves on the side there. And if you move your mouse on yourself, on the screen, on the part where you see yourself, you should be able to see a small button with 3 dots on it. Do you see that? Go ahead and click on those 3 dots, and you will see an option called remove hide self view. And when you click on hide self view, what's going to happen is you're going to be part of the class. You're just not going to be seeing yourself. You'll see everybody else. And once you do that, what happens is that consciousness of, ooh, this is how I look like. Ooh, I need to be careful about this. Ooh, I better not be digging my nose, so on and so forth, does not come upon as such. It gives you a little bit of freedom that, okay, I can't see myself on the screen, shouldn't have to be as stressed about it. So the 4 ways to avoid Zoom fatigue, as shared by Stanford researchers: bring your screen up to the line of your vision. Pick multiple spots in your house. You've got a nice big house. Make use of it. Look away from the screen every 20 minutes for 20 seconds at a point which is 20 meters away. And finally, try turning off self-watch. And it just might help in reducing the amount of stress that you might go through when you are taking a class as such. And that's pretty much the end of the presentation. Now I'd like to open it out for questions.
How do I get my view back? Oh, is it at the top here?
Yes, the same one. You go back and you,
Oh, I see. I think I got it. Oh, there I am.
very
okay.
good. Okay. Yeah. All right, I've stopped sharing my screen. Any other questions from you guys?
I'm just curious, Dennis, is this something, did you mention that this is something that you instruct on a regular basis, this particular topic?
Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
So I instruct in a college called Discovery Community. Most of our students are aged between 35 and 45. So we bring them through a small piece called as Essential Skills and Orientation in the first couple of weeks before we take them into the course itself. During which time I take them through Teams training, I take them through a financial literacy piece and some other, small bits which will be useful for them through the rest of the course, addressing Zoom fatigue, mental health, professionalism, peer support, and time and task management. These are 5 topics that I take upon myself because I realized that through the course, even though this is not part of curriculum, through the course, I've seen students kind of struggle with these kind of things. So I include it in my own curriculum to bring it about. Each of them is a 10-minute mini lesson. And I've used each and every one of them towards the subjects over here as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I definitely learned a few tips and tricks. Never even thought of.
That's great to know. That's fantastic. So there are a lot more tips to avoiding Zoom fatigue, guys. Obviously, I wanted to keep it as short as possible. So I kept it